The Nintendo Switch is a pretty awesome console. I've wanted to talk about this for a while now, and I figured today's a good day for a chill, laid-back commentary. We're basically at the end of this thing's lifespan. The successor is on the way. Whatever that looks like, who knows? But I want to talk about why this thing has brought so much joy, why I think the Switch nailed this console generation, or the last, whatever, so well. And it really comes down to the games and some of the features of the system. I did not care about the portability or the flexibility that the Switch gave when they showed off the fact that you could take it mobile or have it docked. It just didn't. I haven't cared about handhelds since the PSP. I think it's cool, but for the most part, the only time I thought I was gaming was when I was sitting at a desk or in front of a TV. How wrong I was. A year into the Switch, I had saved up money. I picked it up. I was not an early adopter. I waited like a full year and a half before hopping in. But man, that very first day, came home with Super Mario Odyssey. Literally got it from GameStop. Shout out to the dude at GameStop who told me to get a glass screen protector. That thing has saved my Switch multiple times, so you unnamed hero, I appreciate it. But yeah, from that very first night, figuring out that, I can just pick this up, play on the couch. I can play a few, levels or like 30 minutes before bed. It clicked. This thing suspends software so easily. It's so nice to throw it in a case, take it on a road trip. I've gone on so many trips to see family or friends. I always bring the Switch in a dock so we can just, play some Mario Kart, Mario Party, maybe some Smash. It makes so much sense to me, especially as I'm getting older. The ability to play your games on a system on both the TV and in handheld mode was really cool. And I'm telling you, I could not have cared less about that beforehand. I'm mainly a PC gamer, and this is obviously before the era of the Steam Deck. I think Steam Deck and some of these PC handhelds have made the market a little different. You do need to think about the games that you want to play, what you want to get out of a handheld now if you're looking for a mobile gaming device. But for me, it's the library of games that Nintendo produces that kind of keeps me coming back to it. They make games that are joyful, that just about anybody can experience and have a good time with. Whether you have played a ton of games, if you're brand new, it's just the console that anytime I've got friends over who don't play games, you boot up. Or friends who do love playing games, I boot up. I think about, Super Mario 3D World, it's a Wii U game. Quick Wii U story for me. I love the Nintendo 64. GameCube, aside from Melee, maybe a little Luigi's Mansion, didn't really enjoy that console all that much. I missed the Wii entirely, other than playing some Brawl with college roommates. I was one of the 12 people who bought a Wii U. I picked it up specifically for Breath of the Wild, long before I knew it was going to be a cross-gen release. Was disappointed about that, but didn't matter. It played great on Wii U. Anyway, I also had Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, and this has got a Switch port. It's phenomenal. I think this may be one of the best feel-good games of all time. Play it around the holidays. It's super nostalgic. I don't know why. It just is joyful. There are some crazy hard levels and challenges in this game. You can play in multiplayer, pick up and play. Anybody in the room can just grab a Joy-Con and join basically at any time. The music is superb. The graphics are just charming, and it's a perfect game in my opinion. Aside from maybe the camera perspective being a bit challenging sometimes, this is my definition of a perfect, cozy game for me. When recording the footage for the video, I did not want to stop playing it. It's just so good, and it embodies to me why I really like the Switch so much. That game library is just full of those kind of family-friendly games that are perfect for a wide audience. Super Mario Wonder, so good. Such a great platformer. Another one of those games that you can pick up, play locally, or you can play online. Online's a little iffy. It's that downside. Okay, yeah, there's the one huge downside with the Switch. Their online infrastructure and choices remain horrible, remain backwards. Part of me loves that because they haven't been invaded with the AAA FOMO live service nonsense that the rest of the industry is obsessed with. But yeah, online, not so great on this console. That's fine. Local multiplayer, superb. Super Mario Wonder, awesome platformer. Another thing this console really lended itself greatly to was longer games, RPGs, JRPGs. Being able to hop in bed and put 30, 40 minutes in, like I said, goes a long way for some of these longer, bigger adventures. I had never played a Xenoblade game before the Switch, and got Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That game did not click with me for like a year, and I cannot remember. I was house sitting somewhere, and I brought the game over, and I'm like, okay, we'll power through. I've heard the start of this game is a little slow. We'll power through, and I couldn't put it down. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was amazing. Such a fun, incredible, massive adventure. It was the most fun I'd had with a JRPG since Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy X. It was like that era of goodness, and it led me down the rabbit hole of then like, okay, I'm on the Xenoblade journey. Got Xenoblade Chronicles 1, the definitive edition. Played it, beat it, love it. Got through the DLC for Xenoblade 2. Got through Xenoblade Chronicles 3, played it, loved it. Incredible games, and all because it was on the Switch. If it was a PC-oriented title where I had to sit at a desk to beat it, I probably never would have been able to, tackle these things. But the fact that I could throw it on the TV, play a little here and there, I mean, it took me many, many, many months to knock out all of those games. But the Switch, I don't know, it just made it this environment where I was able to do it. I wanted to play through it. The Switch is also the system that really got me playing more indies. Hades, and Dead Cells, and Grease, and Fury, Fast RMX. There's so many incredible eShop games that also lend themselves perfectly to this handheld. There's just something about, like in the first party titles, Nintendo's emphasis on game design over graphics. No, the Switch is not as powerful as the other consoles. It was way behind when it came out, but I really think it makes up for it with its focus on fun and innovative game design. Nintendo continues to prioritize gameplay over raw graphical power, and it's kept me coming back. It makes me look at the system more fondly. Yes, there are some games that really tax it. When I was recording Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, yeah, this has some chunder in certain areas. But speaking of which, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, these two games deserve their own dedicated video. Ocarina of Time is in my top 3 games of all time, and I have really enjoyed Zelda off and on throughout the years. There's a big gap, like I said, from basically GameCube until about Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom is probably top 5 games of all time for me. It's my favorite game of the Switch library, and I could really care less about the graphics. The art style and the gameplay design is just so good, and I find it hard to put into words just how fondly I think about this system and the games on it. And I think about all this in relation to the fact that this was the most affordable console at the time. This is still a company providing a console at an affordable entry point. And I just appreciate that. It's not a comparison. Look, every console has its own unique flavor, its own style, its own benefits, its own drawbacks. But for me, I just supremely appreciate the amount of value that you can get out of a Switch. And I am very hopeful Switch 2 retains some form of backwards compatibility. I hope you can still play some of these great games because there's such a library here. It's well worth it. It's probably not worth buying a Switch right now since the successor is around the corner, but I will always look back on this thing extremely fondly. I would be very curious if you have a Switch, if you have Nintendo memories, share them in the comments. Do you feel similar about some of these things? The way they design their games, some of their choices. By the way, it's not all roses. It's not all sunshine. There are a lot of backwards things. Nintendo games are always expensive. They rarely go on sale. There are some things to nitpick, but I will say with some of their mainline titles, you just know Nintendo rarely misses with the big hitter games. And oftentimes I really just appreciate the things they're prioritizing. As I'm getting older, I care way more about gameplay than raw power and visuals. If it's a great game that I can play with other people, couch co-op, solo, all of the above, take it on the go, play at home. It just is something I value a lot more now. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. It's fun to nerd out about the Switch a little bit. I hope you're having a great week. I will see you again on Friday.